Hi, everyone. Just a disclaimer. The second half of the episode, so really, honestly, just the last about 15 minutes of the episode, give or take, the audio isn't the greatest. You can still hear me clearly, but you can also hear the background noise. Unfortunately, my mic, for whatever reason, sometimes it just decides to be mean, picked up the background noise. But the most of the episode is about an hour in the beginning part of the episode. Everything is peachy. So just as a disclaimer, the second half, which is about 15 minutes of the episode, is not the greatest. But enough of me. Let's go into the episode. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Before the 90 Days, episode 3, because I realized again that I hadn't given that one to you yet. So we're going to be doing that one. So we're going to be going through all of the Before the 90s. We'll be up to date by the end of the week. That is the plan. So it has to be the plan. There's no choice. But before we head into the episode, there's a couple quick announcements. One announcement being there will be the bonus episode from Next Take Podcast will be coming after this. You're going to be getting it in October, technically. I forgot to give it to you guys. But you're going to be getting this episode. I'm recording this on a Monday. You're going to be getting this episode on a Tuesday. And then you'll get the bonus in between the 2 regular episodes. So you'll be getting that. So that's coming for that. And the next thing, kind of just more, I guess, programming note in a sense, I guess, is for this episode. Because this one is so late, we're not going to be there won't be any ads or anything like that. We're just going to kind of plow through the episode just because it is late. But we are still going to do, actually, no, I'm not going to do any hot goss in this episode either. I'll have hot goss for you in another episode. Also, the Selling Sunset episodes are coming your way as well. That is all done, ready to go. So we will be, my plan is with Selling Sunset is to get all of the episodes done prior to Love is Blind coming out on Wednesday. So you might still get the last episode Wednesday, but all of the episodes you'll have them done, ready to go, so we can move on to the next. That is the plan. With Love is Blind, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Sharon on. I am going to talk to her, see if she can come on for an episode or two. But I'm not sure she'll be able to come on. She's a busy, busy lawyer. So we'll see what I can get her to do. But there is plan for Ava to be on a few episodes. So we will see how that goes. But that's basically it for this episode, for the announcements and stuff. So let's just jump right into the episode. So this is B90 episode 3, Sound and the Fury. Not sure. Is this supposed to be I can't remember. These movies? I can't remember. Anyways, let's get to it. We're talking Chidi and Renee, or Rayne, or Rayne. Anyways, we're talking about them first. So this is the next day now, after she's arrived, and she didn't sleep. She said the humidity was really bad, but I was also cold. So wait, which is it? Now, maybe she was having hot flashes. Let's be real. If you have hot flashes, you'll kind of go from hot to cold in a matter of a minute. So maybe that's what was going on, but whatever. She said maybe he's intimidated by me. Maybe that's why he didn't want to sleep with me in the bed. She's like, I'm a lot of a woman. Yeah, well, okay, sure. You're a lot of woman, but not for the reasons you think. But anyways, then Chidi comes into the room and he's going to be making her some breakfast. He tells her to, sit and relax while he, cooks. And he says, like, cooking was really important to him. Obviously, he kind of maybe fell off of it a little bit when he became blind, but he's like, listen, I can still do this, like, no problem. So he's doing it. And while he's cooking, she's like staring at his ass. Like, did anyone else notice? She's just staring at his ass. So he does drop some stuff, but she helps him. And he says even without the sight, he remembers how to do everything. I think he said like the biggest issue, because obviously stoves are a little different in other places than it would be here in North America. So he actually has to like light the stove. So I think like that's the part that's maybe a little more dangerous than anything else. So I think that we talked about, he when he first lost his sight, he was more scared to use the knives or light stove, like I said. But he gets it done. He said it's been 6 years since she has been with anyone. I guess in that sense, or I guess just in general. So, well, I think in this sense, though, she's known him for like 5 years. It's been 6 years since she's actually been physical with somebody. She said, but I don't like to touching anyone. But with you, I can't stop. But she's telling this to him. And he says that he does get aroused by her because obviously he is still a human man. Just because he has taken a vow of celibacy does not mean that his body isn't going to respond in certain ways. And he knows that she or I think she has been like kind of hoping that they would have sex. But he does have to tell her about his vow. But they eat the food and she says it was good. I think he like made eggs. I think it's when he made eggs and something else. I'm not sure. But then the heart of this episode, we are headed to the market with his sister Victoria. She's really excited to see the chickens because there's obviously chickens everywhere. But Renee didn't know that his sister was going to be coming, which kind of she wishes that they were alone because she wants to have alone time with him, which I totally understand. But again, this is a person who is blind and you are in a city that you're not used to. And again, let's remember this is the biggest city, the largest city in the entire continent of Africa. That is the largest city in Nigeria. It's the largest in the whole freaking like continent. So that's, maybe not a good idea for you to be going alone with him. But when they have to actually cross the street, which is really busy, you have the cabs going by, other cars going by, people cry. Like, it's an absolute mess. She's like, never mind. I think I'm actually happy that his sister's here because yikes. Then they get to the market and Chitty says, when I was younger, I loved going to the market, taking all that in. But now he says because of his senses are heightened, with the sounds and the smells and everything, it could be very overwhelming. But then they head to the chickens. I'm going to probably say this every episode at this point. TLC, Matt Sharp, whoever is in charge of casting, bless your heart. Really and truly bless your heart. Thank you so much for this amazing gift. Christmas came early. Thank you so much. This is the best gift I have ever received. Ever. Like, this is fucking incredible. Thank you. I want to cry. Because the casting of the show of this season, I don't think it will ever be topped. This is amazing. Anyway, so yeah, they get to the chickens and she's like, what are you doing with the chickens? She's like, are you offing them? She's like, I'll just starve because I'm not going to eat anything that's going to be offed. And She's like, "I just thought she was showing me the chickens because she knows I love them." But then I figured that what she was actually doing. And, like, if you kill that chicken, I will come after you. Like, she's threatening the guy who's in charge of the chickens to just keep it. Um, I think Victoria says, "Just keep it, I will come back when she's not fucking here." And she's like, "What person would kill someone's family in front of them?" Like, she's about had it. It's let the chicken live. Don't forget the sniff. So, and this is when my eyes widened, and I'm like, wait a whole second. Victoria then asks Renee, "Do you eat chicken?" Yes. Wait, 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 ma'am, you eat chicken? So wait, it's one thing to be like, I love animals, I love whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I can understand that if like the person's actually vegetarian or just chooses not to eat that particular animal that they really, really love, in her case be chicken, I would get it. But this woman is literally like, "Oh yeah, I eat them. I eat them all the time." So you're eating your family. You're like, what? Just because like you're picking it, she's like, "I understand that like I'm going to the store and picking it up that way, but like I'm not the one killing them. Someone is though. Someone is still killing that chicken for your consumption, right?" Like, I'm not saying I particularly want to see a chicken being killed either. I don't know if I could handle that. Again, I've been around birds my entire life. I've seen not chickens, but hens. I've been around this kind of animal my entire life. My aunt was the one who owned, she had a farm, so she had animals. She had hens, a really really crazy goose that would snap at you, like, just by being near it. You didn't even have to, like, be in its vicinity. You just have to walk past it and it's snapping at you. That goose was something else. But, I have sorry if you can hear banging. I think my neighbors are doing renovations as they always do. So, yeah, sorry about that. Trying to figure out what the source of this banging is, but hopefully it doesn't pick up in the recording. But, yeah, so I've been around these animals my whole life, and I don't particularly wanna see a chicken being killed. However, I do know this is how it's done in other countries. Like, if I were to go to South Africa, I mean, I don't know how they do things in South Africa, I don't know if it's similar, if they do the same thing. Probably mainly depends on where in South Africa you are. But if I were to go to South Africa with my partner for whatever reason, vacation or whatever, I'm going to assume that there's a possibility that I might see a chicken being killed, right? So it's just how things are done. And honestly, it is fresher, you know? Like it is better. I mean, I know it's not great and it's something that us as North Americans can't comprehend, or maybe I should better yet say Canadians and or Americans cannot comprehend because I'm not sure what they do in Mexico. They might do a similar thing. But this is how it's done. They're being killed, and if anything, isn't this more humane than what some places do when they kill animals? Like, they're not like they're not like chomping, axing. They're wringing the neck and it's done and it's over with. Like, they barely feel it. I mean, I'm sure they're feeling it, but, like, it's just like if a human's being killed, it's a snap thing, you know? I mean, sorry, guys, that's morbid, but it's like a snap thing. You're not realizing once the actual thing that does it happens, it's quick. Like, it's quick. But beside all that, though, at the end of the day, there is someone killing your chicken for you to eat it. Whether it is you or whether it's somebody else. Aren't you then not like a co-conspirator to killing your quote unquote family? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that the chicken or the beef or the pork or whatever that I am consuming is being killed for me to consume it. And so I should have trigger warned because there might be people who are just against this. Sorry, guys. Um, but like, yeah, it's just this is how it is. And for her to be like, "Oh, no, you're not doing that. I'm not gonna be a part of it." Ma'am, you've been a part of it for 37 years with eating chicken. You have been a part of it. Just because you're actually going to physically see it be done, you're still a part of it. You know what I mean? It's she's not okay. I think we've established this by now. We're on episode, what, 5 or 6 now? Um, we've established she's nuts, but it's just like, you can't be real. She can't be real. I'm sorry. Like, this is ridiculous. So, yeah. So she says, "Yes, I eat it, but I don't kill it. Um, I just didn't want to eat that chicken because that chicken, I'm going to see its death. So you don't want to see its death, right?" Um, she's like, he's just like grabbed it by the legs, and like no care about it. Like, if he had a little bit of compassion before doing it, like, that's one thing, but like, he's so cold. Ma'am, ma'am, he's doing a job. Okay. His job is to have this chicken be killed so someone can eat it. He's getting his money, whatever. Not everyone, I mean, I hear what she's saying, but at the same time, you can't kill something, but because you have this, like, okay, let's go back. Let's say this. Does she think that the butcher or whoever that's killing her chicken for her to eat is doing it with compassion? No, it's not. And I think any person who's killing another person or an animal isn't going to have compassion. That's the last thing they're going to have. They're doing what needs to be done. I mean, that doesn't need people being killed does not need to be done. I'm just putting that out there, okay? Screw those people. I'm just saying. They're doing in their mind what needs to be done for whatever reason. In this case, I have to kill chicken to get money. So that's their job. You're not going to have compassion. I just find it funny that she thinks that if you have a little bit of compassion towards this, to the animal, or if the person who's killing her chicken has compassion to that animal, that's not happening. Not everyone thinks the same way you do. Do I hear you? Sure. But not everyone's going to think the way you do about that animal. Like, it's, like I said, she's not okay. So, put that out there. So basically Victoria's like, "Listen, y'all sit here. I will go get the chicken." She's like, "I won't eat it." Then don't eat it. Starve. I don't care. Eat whatever else she's cooking to go with that chicken. Your loss. Anyways, but this is where she says, "Let the chicken live, sniff. I will not." She's like, "Fine, I won't buy the chicken then." But she does end up buying the chicken anyways. She's like, "If you don't want it, I will not give it to you. If you don't want to eat it, you don't have to eat it." Um, and she's like, "I care for animals the way, you care for people." And again, that's very true. I hear her on that. Um, and for those people who are like vegan, who do not eat animals for the same reasons she's saying that she doesn't want to eat this chicken, don't eat any animal. You, ma'am, you're eating the animal that you say that you don't want to eat. Like, she's a weirdo. She doesn't seem to realize that, like, you're not making sense. This isn't making sense. So basically, yeah, they're sitting down, her and Chidi are sitting down while Victoria's gonna go finish the shopping and get that goddamn chicken. And she's like, "Look at these chickens, they're so free." Until they're not. Until they're not. Let's be like again. Chidi says, like, it is a little bit confusing to him because she eats chicken. Yeah, agreed. I'm confused. I would figure she loves chicken so much that she wouldn't eat the actual chicken. But she's eating the chicken thing. She's just eating her buffalo wings saying, well, I didn't kill it. You know what I mean? Like, what? So he just wants to, or she says she just wants his compassion. Um, she doesn't feel at all bad for her reaction. She owns, I mean, I'll give you that, okay, own your reaction, I guess. Like she doesn't care. She doesn't feel bad about it. She's like, I will take all of the chickens and bring them into my room. It's not like anyone else is in there anyways. Like she'd protect them. Good for you. So he says, what can I do to make you feel special? Judy says. And she says she wants more touching because like she never had that before. So he's like, um, okay, well, about that, I got something to say. Now again, just to preface this, being touchy-feely doesn't necessarily mean it has to be about sex, but of course, he has to say that because he's like, I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z. Like the touching can only go so far, um, because of this reason. So he says, listen, I have something I gotta say, but I wanted to have the conversation in person. He's like, I love you, and I'll do anything to keep you. But what I won't do is have sex with you. What he actually says is that I will not be having sex with you until we get married. And this is the vow that I made with God. And I do understand her here a little bit because you're like, this is confusing, but I do also have a follow-up question to this. So let's get to what she says. She says, like, we used to talk about sex all the time. And now you want to tell me about your little celibacy story? It's celibacy, ma'am. Celibacy. Oh God, now I'm going to say celibacy. I hate you. Anyway. So I do understand what she's saying here because it's like, okay, if y'all did talk about sex, however often you did, and I don't know how far those conversations would go, but if you did, and all of a sudden you were saying that you don't want to have sex with me, that would make me think, oh, is it me? Then this vow you're trying to say that it is, right? But then I also have a follow-up question to that. Renee, did those conversations ever come to a stop? Did they ever come to a halt? Like, did he continue on with that even though we have this God, celibacy? Thank you. Okay, I got it. I have to think about it now because I want to say celibacy. But did that did it come to a stop or did he continue on? Because if he continued on, that's kind of messed up for him to not then have that conversation with you because that doesn't make sense to me. Why talk about the sex, but then not actually have the sex, you know? But if he did that initially, say in the first couple of years or something, and then he stopped, you know, then for the past 3 years, you guys did not talk about sex. So then, like, to me personally, if I'm if with me and my partner, we'll talk about sex, whatever, right? We do it, whatever. But if that were to all of a sudden just come to a halt, I would think, what's going on? Now, my situation is different than her situation, but I would think, what's going on? Then she says something along the lines of like, you always have the same God and you're just doing what you think is right. This is what he believes in. What? But she's like, you told me that we were soulmates and that God brought us together. Okay, yes. Yes. That's maybe what he said and what he believes as well. But then that does not mean that just because he thinks you guys are soulmates and God brought you together, that he needs to have sex with you before marriage. Like, those are two different things. What's your argument? But she's like, God is telling me something and he's telling you something else. I have a question. I thought you believed in aliens and the Illuminati. So yes, your gods are going to say something different because your God's different than his, right? Like, I'm confused. So he said, I just want it to be legal. He wants the legality of it, which is, again, understandable. And she's like, paperwork, it's just the system. It's what the government wants. God doesn't care about the paperwork, but he does. It doesn't matter if God believes in the paperwork or whatever the hell. He believes in what he believes in. Doesn't matter what the government, which again, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. But I mean, okay, yes and no. I understand that she's saying that the government, that's the system, and she doesn't want anything to do with the system. That's fine. But guess what, ma'am? You're with someone who you want to bring to the States with you. You're gonna have to clock into the system in order to do it, right? Like, you can't be married spiritually, god damn it, and think that's gonna like, immigration doesn't give a shit about your spiritual marriage, you know what I mean? So, it's whatever. But again, it feels really gross. It feels predatory of her. It is predatory of her because trust me, does it end here? It's very predatory of her to be like, well, the government, this is the government. It's not religion. You know, religion, if God brought us together, then we are soulmates and we should just have sex. It's like, if this man is saying he does not want to have sex with you, then leave it alone. Shut up. But like, I'm sorry, just respect him. And again, I'm going to say this from a Black woman's perspective, a Black person's perspective. It feels to me that this woman automatically thinks that because he's a Black man, that he's just gonna he just wants to have sex because Black men are seen in that way. And again, it's not just Black men; Black women are as well. We kind of talked about it with R. Kelly a little bit, and how Black women are kind of viewed, and how that's kind of brought that to the light with the documentaries that were done with him. I think I talked about it more on Next Take, but it's definitely been talked about before in that perspective. And Black men are viewed kind of similarly as well, especially with people outside of our race. Um, so I think there's a lot of that kind of going on here that she thinks because I'm with a Black man, he just want to have sex with me. And that's not the case. There are people, Black, white, Asian, whatever, who want to be celibate, who don't want to just necessarily, like, no one's saying he's a virgin. I don't think he is. But he has taken a new vow, maybe because this is the thing that got him through his disability. So if he wants to take it that seriously, then that should be respected. Now, is that something I would do? No. But that's me. Everyone is different on how they want to take this. And you should respect it. If any relationship that I've been in and it started off with sex is off the table, yeah, sure, that can be difficult. And I can see that from her perspective. But if the person explains to me, this is why, I have to respect it if I want to be with this person. Because that person is more important to me than whether or not I can have sex with them. She doesn't see it that way, though. So, clearly. So, she's like, if I knew this before I came here, I wouldn't have got on the plane. And again, I don't know how to feel about that. On the one hand, I hear what she's saying because that's her right. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, well then do you not love this person that enough anyways then? Because like that shouldn't matter. Whether or not you can have sex with him should not matter. You should want to be with him because you love him as a person and not whether or not he can please you physically. Yes, I know sex is an important factor in a relationship. I 100% agree with that. Um, like I again, person, but this is me. I wouldn't want to enter into any long-term relationship without having sex with someone to know we're compatible in all ways. And I understand that. But I also think like no offense to her, but I think her bar is so low with everything due to her past that it doesn't even matter if he quote unquote sucks in bed. for her, it's not even about that. It's not whether or not he sucks in bed. It's not, she doesn't care about that. Personally, I think I can't speak for, I'm not speaking for her, but just my opinion is I don't think she cares whether or not he sucks in bed. It's more about the affection and that part of it that's really important to her. And, although that can be important to most people, the, you know, and both of those, right? Whether or not a person is actually has skills in the bedroom and whether or not you also have that compassion and that passion and whatever and the touchy-feeliness of that, she cares more about that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but she cares more about that. I don't think she wants to have sex with him just because she wants to have sex with him and go at it. She wants that, and again, that's coming from the perspective of this episode only. My views might change on that depending on how things look in the next episode. Episode 6. So, which has not aired yet, obviously. But I think those reviews are going to change. But just based on this and kind of based on what happens in the most recent episode, I think that's what she cares more about, and that's okay. But you can combat that by doing other things, but don't there has to obviously be limits. If you're sexually frustrated, I don't know what to say to you. Yeah, go to a sex shop, get some toys. I don't know what to say because it's just like, if you love him enough, then that's a sacrifice you should be willing to make. Or if you don't want to make it, then that's fine. But it's just like, I don't know. If this is like the best relationship you've been in, how he makes you feel and everything like that, and I do truly believe he loves her, then be patient. I don't know. But anyways, that's it for them. Talked a while about them. So let's move on to my next favorite couple ever for the kookiness. That's Tigerlily and Adnan. So so this is when they're walking into the ceremony. This is when they're getting married. So they're walking into the ceremony. We meet his brothers, Yazin, Hamza, Ahmed, and he also meets his mom, who's absolutely gorgeous. She's beautiful. His family is beautiful. Um, she says when he told me that he wanted to get married, I was happy, but yet shocked because he's 22. Um, he's like, I can tell she's really scared because she has no clue what's about to happen. But then the ceremony actually begins, and she feels confused, y'all. She knows nothing about the Muslim marriage contract. That is something a Google search could have helped you with. Are you kidding me? I don't understand people who go into these situations having no clue what's happening and don't do a Google search. Like, I'm sorry, it's the prerequisite for the show is don't do Google searches. Like, honestly, honestly, like this is ridiculous. We forget that in The Other Way as well, the most recent episode of The Other Way, which will be coming soon. But it's just like, does no one do Google searches? This, like, if I'm marrying a Muslim man, I'm going to do the research. Hell, I'm done research on South Africa as a person who, like, if I'm gonna have kids with this person or family with this person, I wanna know some stuff, you know what I mean? And obviously any questions I have, he'll answer, but it's just like, do your fucking research. It's just I don't get it. So then they have to like print their names and sign stuff. And like in I think they have like a book they have to sign that basically says you're married, and they're married. So after that, he kind of proposes to her with a ring, even though now they're married. Um, then they head back to the hotel. He just can't wait, y'all. He's never had sex before. He is ready to go. He's like, let's do this thing. He's ready to go, y'all. And he's so ready to go that he's just screeching out to the hotel. It's like, let's go, let's go. Move, 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 now, now, now. Like, he's just ready. Like, he's, I've never seen someone so ready. And he kicks the cameras out because he wants to have sex. He's like, listen, y'all don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. So, it's the next morning and he's so happy. I mean, once you've gone places, let's say that, you never see life the same ever again. Yep. He said last night was his favorite night ever, I would imagine. And he's like, I won't give details, but not a virgin anymore. However, she gives a little bit more details. She's like, I don't really wake up with bedhead usually. Of course not. Does she look like a person who wakes up with bedhead? Nah. She's like, I don't usually wake up with bedhead. I don't even know how I'm standing right now. Jesus. What did he do to you? I mean, I've said that a few times too. I'm like, I can't even believe I'm walking, standing upright. Like, what's happening? Like, yikes. But it's weird though, because again, the running conspiracy, which I definitely am on board with, is how in the hell does a man who's a virgin capable of actually making you feel that way? You know what I mean? Just said that. Like, I've definitely felt that way in my relationship, or I've definitely had moments in our sex life where I'm like, What?" You know? You know those ones where you see Jesus? Pretty sure I've seen the light a couple times. Those moments. But I'm also talking about a person who has been having sex for 10 plus years, or, like at least at this point, 15 years. So it's like he has the experience. And that takes time. We don't start off that way. You get into that and and then you're like, God damn. I mean, me as a virgin didn't have those. I do now. I got them skills now. But I really truly took some time before I felt like I got this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a blow his mind kind of situation, right? That takes time. You're trying to tell me that this man, 22 years old, never had sex before, is just ready to go, and he goes to that extent? I don't know, man. I don't buy it. And listen, yes, there are people who are Muslim who are really devout in their religion and don't have premarital sex. But again, I have dated Muslim men who don't partake in that. I'm just saying that. So he could very well be that. He could be a person who like did actually have sex, and he's not saying that he did. I honestly, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna add to the conspiracy a little bit. I think he told her, I'm not a virgin. I really do. I think he did. And I think the reason she was playing dumb initially when it was brought up whether or not he was a virgin in the first episode is because she knows she can't say anything. I think on camera he's saving face because he knows his family's going to be watching it. But I think, or at least not even so much his family, but even like his mom is going to be watching it. And maybe some family who are a little bit more devout as well. And I think he kind of wants to save face, but I think he was never a virgin. I think he just had to save face, and he made her do the same, which I totally understand. But don't blame me. I know. So anyway, so they're going to be meeting up with some family today. Cruz and Shay are actually taking the day off. We do find out in the next episode, or one of the next episodes. Yeah, the next episode that they were actually going to the Dead Sea, which is really cool. And they're taking the day off though to, unwind, relax before having to be on call for the next day for the wedding, the big wedding. And because of this though, she doesn't have anyone who can do her makeup, do her hair. So she needs to get a hairstylist from the hotel who is a man when he shows up. Okay. And when Adnan sees the man, he's like, why isn't it a woman? And she's like, I don't know. That's who the hotel brought. Like, that's it's not up to her. She asked for a hairstylist, and that's the one they have for her. And he doesn't want any man to touch her, which again is something that is definitely something we've heard many times. Is not allowed. Um, and when this guy is trying to get the job done, right? He's trying to set up and everything like that. Adnan is just staring down at him like a hawk. Like, don't you dare touch her. He's ready to fight. And this guy starts rolling his eyes, like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, this poor man, the uncomfortability in this moment, this poor man. It's like, okay, fine. But he stays there the whole time staring at her. At one point, he actually tells her to pull her shorts down because her shorts are, I guess, riding up a little bit. And he's like, and no, sorry, she says, are you gonna watch him the whole time? He's like, yeah, I am. My guy's getting rattled. He's making mistakes. He's dropping things. And she's like, he's not touching me. Like, he's touching my hair. It's not even my hair anyway. Then Anand starts a timer and basically gives this man 5 minutes to get the stuff done. Do you have any clue how long it takes to do a woman's hair? And it's not like she's brushing it or whatever. Like, she's like curling it. It takes time, and you obviously want to get your money's worth. They're not gonna just half-ass for her hair because you don't want her being touched by this random guy. Like, what? It's nonsense. Um, and she says, "No, it's gonna be done when it gets done." He's like, "You got a minute and a half." He's so serious. He's like, "It's almost time. Okay, it's done now. It's done now." Like, he's like, "Get out of here. Like, it's done now." And he stands right, like, beside him at that point to be like, "Get the hell out of here." And it's like, but he's not done. Like, he still has to finish. He's so nuts. Anyway, like, once the guy finishes, he gets the hell out of Dodge, and he's like, yeah, no. He better have gotten an amazing tip putting up with this nonsense. And again, this is a person who is Jordanian and probably knows, like, yes, but like the hotel in Jordan is the one who brought the man there. So, like, I'm confused by it. She's confused by it. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you gonna do her hair? You know what I mean? So we are headed to the restaurant. She's meeting absolutely everyone today. And she says while they're driving, because there's some people who are wearing like the full, I knew it, I used to know the full name of it. I guess, mm, I used to know the whole name of it, but the hijabs that like you're completely covered, right? Just the eyes are showing. She's seeing people like that who are walking on the street. She's like, why do some people cover up completely? And he's like, it's just showing like it's like just showing you more devout in Islam. Um, and she's like, are you okay with me showing my hair? He kind of hesitates a little bit and says, yeah. Like, he's not sure. Like, one day he's probably going to change his mind on that. I guarantee he will. So they get to the restaurant and the family is like singing. We meet brothers, sisters, aunts, cousins. Then we eat, which looks really good. The food looks really good. And the men and the women, I did notice, are eating separately. Everyone she says, is feeding me so much food. Like, I had to take mouthfuls of it and act like I was enjoying it. So wait, were you not enjoying it? Like, what? Like, maybe she means like enjoying the just shovels of food going to my mouth. Maybe that's the part she's talking about. Then not so much about the actual food. Not like I looked at this food and I kind of saw her reaction when she started eating it. I don't think she liked it, which is just like it looked just like rice and chicken. Like, what's the big deal? But anyway, um, he explains that Jordan shows happiness with food, and then they show Manza, I think is what I said. Can't read my handwriting, guys. That's the problem here. But she's like, "What animal is that?" And he's like, "Sheep." She's like, "I don't eat sheep." Well, you did. So, um, she's like, "We ate sheep." He's like, "Yeah, a fluffy one." Now that's mean. That's mean. Renee's gonna have a thing or two to say about that. And so they're gonna go get ready for, the day tomorrow. One of the Hot brothers, though, before they leave, is like, "I need to talk to you, Adnan. So where do you guys plan on living? In America or here? Say here, please." Like, how about she can't? Or I think he's asking both of them. And she says, "Well, I have my kids in America. Like, we'll have to be there." And she says it concerns her that he hasn't really told his family that the plan is for him to move to the States. Like, she has to move there. Like, he's 22, no kids. She's 41 years old with 2 kids, and she has to co-parent with her toxic ex-husband. So it's like she has no choice. They have to live in the States. But anyway, that's it for them. Okay, let's do a quick one first before we finish up here. It's just Brian. Let's do Brian and Ingrid. They're not too long. So they are headed to the car. He rented a car, and he's gonna put the hand controls on the car, but he needs kind of her help to do so. He said travels with these all the time, but due to his hands, he can't get them like in place by himself. Ingrid helps him, but she is a little confused because he has told her that he is independent when he travels. So, like, why do I have to help you do this? Now, yes, he might be independent, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now. He might be independent, 100%. But again, like, why wouldn't you not want to help him anyways? You're in a relationship with him. But at the same time, he's probably never put these controls on the cars before because he usually is probably traveling to meet a woman. Or if he's like on like a rugby, like if he's doing like something for the rugby team or whatever, there's probably someone who's able-bodied who either they are renting multiple cars and they can help with that, or they have they probably have like some sort of transportation that's arranged for them ahead of time, so they don't have to worry about that. But in these cases where he's traveling to meet women, and those women are the ones who are putting the car controls on. His hands can't do it. I believe him that his hands are incapable of allowing him to do it. And I mean, you could just look at that and be like, "Oh, okay." So like she's not quite understanding that he, yes, is independent, but it ain't him putting those hand controls in. It's someone else who's doing it for him. And that's probably a woman. So, and she does, I think, say that she broke a nail. That's unfortunate. Um, then they get to the hotel. They get to the room. She goes in the shower first. And while she's in the shower, he's like, "Well, I took half of a blue pill just in case. I want to be prepared." So you're just taking blue pills without first knowing whether or not you two are gonna have sex, and then not only that, you're that presumptuous that she's gonna give it up to you on the first night. Ingrid does not come across as a woman who's gonna give it up to you on the first night. She just doesn't. So what? But okay. I'm gonna say full disclosure, y'all. I'm out on Brian. I'm really disappointed, but we'll get to it on a later episode. But in the next scene with them, he wants to, you know, keep or he kind of says like sex, or he's seeing that normal sex is important to him. I think that's what he said. Um, Even though like he doesn't feel anything down there anymore, but it's about being kind of wanted, that feeling of being wanted and having that connection. That's kind of what sex has kind of become for him. Um, and he then asks like, "Can you help me take my jeans off?" My guy, You really trying to tell me that you can't we've seen you change and you must undress yourself. You're making her do that. It feels, again, gross. It feels a little predatory. Here, take my jeans off. You know what I mean? Like, ew, take your own jeans off. What the hell's happening? And he's like, give me your shoulders. What the hell? He he just like, I can't take care of myself. But he says when he's kind of with someone, he might wanna test them to see kind of where their limits are. On the first night, my guy, on the first night, you can't give it a minute? Jesus Christ. But, he's gonna go take a shower. He's like, "Hey, Ingrid, you know I use a catheter, right?" "Oh, that's sexy. That's so sexy. Tell me about your catheter. This turn me on." What the hell? What's it was probably in this episode, I'm like, "Oh, you're gross. You're grossing me out here." Not because of the things that you have to do. That part doesn't gross me out. Full disclosure, my dad's in a wheelchair. That's not what I'm trying to get at all. It's not about that. Like those things to me are kind of obvious. That part it's not it's it's this predatoriness that he's kind of going, I don't think that's a word, that he's kind of going at with how he's doing this. Throwing her into the deep end with everything without giving her a minute. That's the part for me that's just kind of like, you're doing this to kind of, I guess, I don't know, fast track things. And it's like, take your time. Yes, you guys may have been talking for a couple of years, but you guys have not been together physically in those couple of years. So give her a minute to catch up. Like, what the hell? Like, I would say the same thing if this guy was able-bodied, if that's the term you use. Like, I don't even know that's term, if that's like politically correct term, but like, you know what I mean? It's just like, if he was doing all of those things, "Here, help me take my jeans off. Oh, by the way, do you know I do this, this, and this?" Like, it would still really gross me out. What is happening here? So, yeah, he yells that out. He's like, "You wanna see how it's done?" No, because again, it's not about the catheter. I mean, probably for her, that's gonna be a lot because she's never been exposed to that. Um, I haven't really been exposed to that either in that sense, but I know it's something that's done depending on your situation. But it's not about that. It's about the fact that don't you have to show her your dick in order to show her how the catheter is put in? That part. That's what I'm trying to get at. And he says like the catheter is connected to a condom. So in order for it to work or for him to get it on, um, he kind of has to be partially erect to get into the condom, right? You can't go into the condom with the flaccid penis, which duh, that makes sense, right? So he shows her the photo instructions of how to do it, which again is still too damn much. And she knows that this is a part of his life, but it's kind of weird that he's showing me all of this now. We just met physically. She says it's very overwhelming. Then he starts doing it right on the bed, right beside her, because he has to get erect. He has to get erect to do it. Not fully, but let's not forget he just took a blue pill. So it's just a lot. And he has to, like, okay, again, wheelchaired or not, the man is literally beside you, giving himself an erection. Well, you're too like, not there's barely space between the 2 of you while he's doing it. It feels just you couldn't have done it in the bathroom, even if the door was left open. At least you're in a different part of the room doing it. Why are you doing it right beside her? That is just yikes. That's that, yeah. Um, and he's like, "I'm not disrespecting you, am I?" Even if she says no, but even if she feels that way, or she's telling you that, which I don't believe. I think she feels not disrespected, but just a little weirded out. It's your job to make sure she's not feeling that way, whether it's weirded out or disrespected or whatever, and just do the right thing in this moment and not do that in front of her. Because it's not, again, about what you're doing or what you have to do, the end result here. It's about what you have to do to get to that point. That part of it is, like, I'm sorry, if a man was doing that in front of me, pretty much just, and I've never met you before physically, we've never had anything like that before, and you're just there getting your dick hard, it's just like, get away from me. That's such an uncomfortable feeling. And anyway, so he says people are usually okay with the chair itself, but it's everything else that comes with it, which is understandable from his perspective. Yes, that is true. But he is not, um, so yeah, anyway, he's not getting any tonight because yikes. They basically face away from each other and they say goodnight. That's that. Again, I don't know if he would have necessarily, I don't know if they would have had sex. Again, like I said, I don't, Ingrid doesn't come across as a person who would have had sex with him on the first night, but to me, he may have gotten a little bit more affection out of her if it wasn't for, I think the thing that just broke the camel's back for her was not so much the catheter itself, but everything surrounding it. And I think mainly, like, the whole, I have to get myself an erection in order to get this in the condom. It's just, I don't know, man. Anyway, that's it for Brian and Ingrid. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we will jump into the rest of the episode. And I am back. So let's jump into, we have a new couple alert. Let's do it. We have Sunny, who's 25, who lives in South Africa. I think it's Devon, if I think I'm saying that right. And Veah, who is 27, and she is from Orlando, Florida. So we're with him first. He is from Bangladesh. He said that his dad had moved out here 7 years ago to work with, he moved to South Africa 7 years ago to work with his dad. I wrote here, his eyes are beautiful. Just beautiful. Every time I see him on the screen, I just stare at his eyes. They're gorgeous. He says in Devon, there are Muslims, Indians, people from Bangladesh, so he feels very at home, probably. He lives with a friend of his. They've been friends for about 5 years. His friend is hot. His name's Allie. He downloaded an international app, and that's where he met Veah. He says her eyes are kind of the thing that probably drew him in. She said her hair is beautiful. She will be there in just about a week. And he kind of explains, which you'll get a little more from her as well, that her childhood was very different. She was in the foster care system and not, I think, near family is what I wrote. Anyway, for him, he didn't have a great relationship with his father, but he says, like, I think they kind of connected on that for each other. But he does say that they do argue a lot, and I don't think it's gonna get any better. He says that I will be, or like he'll have like the trust issues is kind of the big thing, because she has a friendship with her ex-boyfriend named Rory, who we're going to be seeing quite a bit of in this episode. Or sorry, in this season. And he doesn't like that. But he doesn't think anything will really happen because, like, over in America, they're really nice and they may keep friendships. No, we don't. No, we don't. And we are going to learn from her, and I think the next episode, episode 4, that they got history. They got a lot of history. And I don't know if I could stay friends with someone with that kind of history. You know what I mean? Like, yikes. But we'll get to that in the next episode. But he's like, I wouldn't. But he's like, I want to propose to her. And his friend is like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And he's like, in America, they can do whatever they want. In our culture, them not only being of Indian descent, but they're also Muslim. There is no freedom. Well, my guy, you were cute for like a second. Because, whoa. And he's like, she needs to forget all of that. And, forget the ex. Which, culture, religion aside, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Anyway, so Sunny and his friend Allie there are going to the mosque. We see them praying. Not much else to say about that, though. They're very devout in the prayers. He's very serious about his religion and all of that. 24 hours earlier, we're with Veah. She's feeling really excited to go, but she has never been out of the country before. She has been on a plane, nationally, but she has not traveled internationally. So it's kind of a big deal for her. She's pretty anxious about it. She's a pretty anxious person in general. Maybe that's because of her upbringing. She gives us a little more information about that. So her mom had 8 kids, but they were all separated because the parents struggled with substance abuse. And I think there were siblings who were together, but not everyone was, obviously. So she says because of that, a lot of her anxiety, so because of that, she has anxiety and she's worrying. She says that they have, in South Africa, they have the outages, which I didn't know. I don't know. I've kind of talked about this very briefly with my boyfriend before about the outages and stuff like that, but I didn't know the outages happened throughout South Africa. I thought it was just in Joburg, but like mainly in Joburg. And I'm not saying only there, but mainly. But maybe it happens more frequently in Joburg. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he can really answer that either because he is from Joburg, so I don't know. But it's just like, I didn't realize that it was everywhere. But again, not surprising. So she's worried about the power outages. She's like, what if my phone doesn't work? And, well, keep your phone going as much as you can. But her friend is like, you could use a converter because they would have different plugs there, right? And she's like, well, what do you mean? They have different plugs? Wait. She doesn't realize that there are different plugs in different countries? She doesn't know that. You don't have to be a traveler to know that. Okay. She's like, I thought our plugs were like all the same. Okay. She's like, why complicate things? Bless her. She's like, if all goes well with this trip, we'll hopefully get engaged. And they do have things that they do have to work on, like communication and the jealousy. She says that he tracks her location. And apparently there was one time that he freaked out when I was at a friend's house and he accused me of cheating. I'm curious to know who that friend is. I have an idea. Anyways. He's like, she said if we get into arguments, I'll have like no one there. Like no one there to like back me up or like that I can run to or whatever. So I invited Worry. And her friends are like, wait a minute, your ex? Y'all, this bitch invited her ex-boyfriend to come on this trip with her because she's never traveled before, and if they get into fights that she'll have the support of her ex-boyfriend. Are you kidding me? My boyfriend would kill me. Like, seriously, are you kidding me? Like, you think like it's gonna be that bad that like you really truly need to have support of your ex-boyfriend? Like, you think your boyfriend's really gonna put you in a situation where you're not gonna have some form of support? You know what I mean? Like, yes, you might have an argument, but at the end of the day, this person's supposed to love you. You know what I mean? Like, you think it's gonna be that bad? Wow. Just Amazing. So her friend's like, it wouldn't be my first choice. Wouldn't be mine either. So we do kind of learn that they were together for 2 years. And they basically broke up because they wanted different things in life. I'm really curious about what that is because with what we do find out, that's really interesting. I'm going to have theories once we find that out. I'm not going to say it here, but said that it was an amicable breakup. And we do find out, though, that there might be a little bit of tension between Rory and Sunny because apparently he went onto Sunny's Instagram commenting ha ha on some of his photos because he's like, why does he have a lot of mirror selfies? Okay. So when Sunny saw this, he's like, why does this guy keep commenting ha ha on my pictures? And she's like, oh God. And that's what Rory told her. But it's just like, my guy, does it matter why he has a lot of mirror selfies? What's it to you? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that feels like an ex-boyfriend who's trying to cause drama. That sounds like an ex-boyfriend who's really jealous that he's no longer with her. And you have to do something like that. Like, it's just childish on his part. Like, you know what I mean? It's weird. Like, who cares? Like, it sounds like he might be still in love with her. That's what it feels like to me. Or he's jealous of in some case. I don't know. But she says, there is just absolutely no way that I can go there without Rory. Don't you have girlfriends or something who can go with you? Like, you have that one there who travel all the time who had to tell you about the converter. Why not bring her? Because it wouldn't be drama. But anyways, she's like, he has experience with traveling, but I didn't tell Sunny that he's coming. So what? What's your plan? You're not, he doesn't know. She's not planning on telling him until she's in South Africa. What the fuck? And for those people who watched the most recent episode knows that her plan is for him to just camp out in the airport, I guess. Like, what's going on here? Anyway, her friend is like, oh boy, how does he react to things when you tell him things that are kind of not great? And she's like, I mean, he has like no reason to be upset. Like, I'm gonna be with him, so like, why couldn't he just understand? If the tables were turned, Veah, would you understand? I'm so, like, I have no clue how to do this. Like, I've never traveled outside of, I mean, obviously he's traveled internationally, but like, let's pretend he's never traveled internationally before. I'm gonna bring my ex-girlfriend with me to come travel. So, you know what I mean? No one would take this lightly. Like I said, my boyfriend would kill me. I would kill him. Like, are you kidding? No way. It's over. It would be over. Anyway, that's it for them. They will have only one more couple in this episode. It's not going to be very long. Thank God, because I love Faith. I can't with Loren. He's just... Okay. Well, I'm not going to go too far ahead yet because we're not there yet. But Loren and Faith. So they're heading to the hotel. They go get he has his own room, obviously, as we know. He's going to go shower and then they're going to go out. And she's taking him to have Filipino food after he showered, about an hour later. And she kind of explains, like, you know, people in the past or men in the past would block her as soon as they would find out that she was a transgender woman. So she's like, so, you know, I think she's lowering herself because this guy accepts her. So he's like, I have, you know, a test for you, you know, a faith test for you. You know, that's 40 questions. He's like, well, can I just help me learn more about you? And she says, no thanks. I'm not doing a girlfriend test. Like, what the hell? And I don't blame her. Like, how are you going to learn something about somebody and whether or not you ask them if there are snakes in all continents? You know what I mean? Like, that's not helping you learn about her. Anyway. But so we have 20 days to figure this out, figure out each other. But he understands that, he understands that she wants to take it slow, but he thinks that it would be better to just figure it all out, if you get where we're going with that. See whether or not they're sexually compatible, you know, sooner rather than later. And it's just like, well, with what we find out later, I think it's better if we wait later, you know? Well, we'll talk about that in another episode. But that's basically it for episode 3. Again, I know late, but we're getting through it. But yeah, that is it for episode 3. So the next thing you guys can expect to get from me is a Selling Sunset. So most likely going to be episodes 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, those are the episodes that you can expect. So a Selling Sunset is the next thing. That will be episodes 7, 8, and 9. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.